separate entities po sila. And then, and kung ad hoc din po yung intention nitong commission po, we would like to note, baka pwede rin po lagyan ng sunset clause, katulad po din sa EO94. And we note po na baka gusto rin po lagyan ng secretariat po yung itong commission na ito, katulad po din sa EO94. As to the proposal po to have fiscal autonomy, we respectfully request for reconsideration po kasi this might be a precedent po na magklamor for yung other proposals for fiscal autonomy. And to note, currently po, nasa constitution lang po yung may fiscal autonomy and limited fiscal autonomy. So, that is all, Mr. Chair. Thank you po.
Maybe just a quick comment there. We consider these corruption cases as unprecedented, and therefore perhaps unprecedented fiscal autonomy should be made available. Are there other? Okay. With that, the Senate President wishes to raise a few questions. Go ahead,
Yes,
Senate President.
Well, before you continue with your hearing, Mr. Chairman, may I just throw a question? Actually, it's from left field. Either former Secretary Babe Singson or the DPWH representative. I just want to know what is there in the DPWH Quezon City office that was burning a few hours ago. Ano ba naman doon?
If I'm not mistaken, this might be part of the Region 4A office. Kasi kung yun nasa Kamuning area, I'm not sure, but I know there are one or two offices along EDSA in that area, Quezon City, 4A. So I hope it is not our zone.
I just thought that the media would like to would be interested to find out. Miss, the ASEC of DPWH?
ASEC Villar?
Yes, Your Honor. This is actually Region 4B, the Regional Office 4B of the DPWH.
4B.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mindoro.
Ito po yung dito po ang site ng testing materials ng DPWH ng mga suppliers like semento, mga bakal. Dito po tinitest. So, we are looking into it already. Pero ito po yung testing site.
Testing site. Wala mga dokumento ron?
Of course, meron po, Your Honor.
No.
So,
Testing site, with the permission of the Senate President, testing site and the office of the regional DPWH Region 4B. Okay.
Yes,
So, yung mga dokumento ng regional office of the DPWH Region 4B is housed in that office.
well,
A number.
a number, but most of it naman po nasa database na ng central. So,
Okay. Yes,
Sir, GMA News has reported that the fire specifically affected the Bureau of Research Standards building. That's what they said. Bureau of Research Standards building.
testing.
testing po, Your Honor.
Yes, Justice Andres Reyes.
Yes,
go ahead.
with due respect to that office, as per testimony of witness Bryce Hernandez, there is 1% for the testing office of the DPWH, where voucher is 1%. Thank you.
So the 1% documentation is gone. Okay, thank you for the information. I understand, Senate President Drillon, you were suggesting, considering that this is only 3 pages, that you'd like to go through. Go ahead.
Yes, in order to maximize our time, Mr. Chairman, if I may, first, I'm listening to our the resource persons. First, we must emphasize that this is a fact-finding body that we are trying to form. The power is to investigate, not to adjudicate. It cannot conduct preliminary investigation, which is the role of the prosecution service, and it cannot much less adjudicate, which is a judicial function. So it is limited correctly to only investigation. Having said that, under our system and our constitution, the primary jurisdiction for investigation of anomalies is the ombudsman. The ombudsman is the primary body, but that does not prevent us from creating this commission. But having said that, we must strengthen our institutions of democracy that would exact accountability rather than keep on adding bodies. That is why I am in favor of this, in favor of the proposed commission, but it must be an ad hoc, it must have a sunset clause rather than perpetually having a duplication of functions. We recognize the Constitution. The Ombudsman has the primary authority. We strengthen the Ombudsman. For example, I read in the media that the Ombudsman has asked those who applied earlier to apply again, about 200 or so vacancies. So we must strengthen this because otherwise, the tendency, and I've been in this body before, the tendency of our structure is to keep on adding people so that you create a huge bureaucracy. Every problem that crops up, we solve it by creating an office. In this particular case, I am endorsing the commission creation because of the situation that we are in. But we should not forget the fact that our primary objective should be to strengthen our institutions of democracy that could demand accountability, and in this particular case, the Ombudsman. But we have to have this ICI, or however we call it, because of the need of the times. But as I said, we must remember that we should be limited to fact-finding. In fact, that's recognized in the bill of the Senate President. It's only fact-finding and only limited to infrastructure projects. In other words, if another family case would come around, it is not in the purview of this body, because as the Senate President himself said in his measure, it is limited to infrastructure projects, past and present, but limited to investigation. In other words, it is a fact-finding body, and it will now recommend to the Ombudsman or to the prosecutor the prosecution of cases. But commenting on certain
On the issue of the sunset provision, what timeline are you looking at?
Just off the top of my head, subject to further discussion, the term of the present administration, June 30, 2028. But it's just something that we make as a reference. As I have no problems with my issue is it must have a sunset provision so that we will not have duplications. But to address the need for inadequacies in the system, we should strengthen the Ombudsman. We strengthen the COA by adequate funding. That's my submission, Mr. Chairman. Rather than creating a permanent body which will again investigate or do work or do the functions of the Ombudsman. That's my submission.
Yes, Chief Justice Puno, go ahead.
Are you done?
Well, there are others, but I can.
You may interject, Chief Justice Puno, in relation to the points earlier said.
No, I would like to
former Senate President Drillon to continue. And then I will also have my time
Okay.
to comment on
Okay,
the
yes.
specific provisions of the Senate bill.
Yes.
So, okay, just on the, going back, on the remedies or the powers which one of our resource person mentioned, the issuance of an HDO, I would not agree that we place this in the hands of an administrative body. It must be a judicial determination because it involves the rights of individuals to travel, the right to abode. An HDO is a very powerful power of government, and to allow, it must be a judicial finding. Other administrative remedies, we would endorse depending on
Perhaps the minimum would be a lookout order.
lookout order. Yeah. Now, the controversial issue, Mr. Chairman, is the power to hold a person being investigated in contempt. We should be very careful here because of the right against self-incrimination. Remember that the persons being called to the hearing of the ICI face potential criminal liabilities. If the ICI or the body is empowered to recommend the prosecution of people. And having said that, if one invokes his right against self-incrimination, we cannot order the detention of that person until he cooperates. The example in the Senate or in the House cannot be cited because the objective of an investigation in the Senate and the House is in aid of legislation. Now, on the other hand, the ICI or this independent commission can recommend the prosecution, and therefore we cannot. I have very serious reservations about granting them the power of contempt. We have on. I think we should
On that point, Senate President Drillon, what you're saying is the remedy perhaps of this body, of this proposed body, would be to go to court
yes,
and seek the contempt order from the court.
yes, sir.
And maybe the Court of Appeal, so that it's
Whatever, but it cannot be and the proof whether it's in the regular court or in the or this body, where the contempt would require the answering of questions which can incriminate, whether it's in this body or in the court of law. In my mind, the right against self-incrimination.
for example, well, we do have this case with the Discayas.
Yes.
They now refuse to cooperate with the ICI. Well, what is the remedy of the ICI? Or what should be
The remedy of the ICI,
Yeah.
the remedy of the ICI is to assess what they have gathered as evidence, recommend to the ombudsman whatever action they find necessary, and the lookout of the Discayas is that the matter will be decided without their evidence that is presented. But that is how the system works, because another system could have brought dangers. Now, the matter of it is also mentioned by the private, by the businessman that some private group must approve the appointment of the president. I don't think that's possible because the power of the president to appoint is constitutional. He is the appointing authority. He is elected by the people. For a private group to be given the power to pass upon these appointments, regardless of how well-meaning they are, I don't think that can stand constitutional scrutiny, Mr. Chair. So
they can recommend?
they can limit, for example, there is nothing wrong with with recommendation, and even we can even legislate as proposed by Senator Soto.